Good morning, everyone. If you are used to watching my videos, you know that I must be sick because I sound terrible this morning, and this was a total upgrade from how I woke up. I am Corinne from fitandfat.com. You can visit my website where I have blogs and podcasts and all kinds of good stuff at P as in Paul, N as in No, P as in Paul, 411.com. And I wanted to do this one today because people ask me all the time, because I'd lost 100 pounds, there's like several things that went into it. One was I really had to start changing my mindset around exercise. Hey, Marianne, happy Mother's Day. For a long time, I was so afraid not to exercise because I was afraid it would make me go backwards in my journey. And so I realized that, and I love exercise, so it has nothing to do with the idea that I forced myself into exercising. I mean, I actually love it, but there was a little bit of me when I first started losing all my weight that was terrified to miss a workout, because I just thought, if I miss one, that's how I've always done it. Like, I've always backtracked. I've always if I missed one, that meant I was going to miss a month, that kind of thing. And so let me get out of the sun, because seriously, the sun's traveling on me and I'm outside. So I'm trying to get a little bit of vitamin D working so I can get to feeling better. But I literally was I would always, and this is what I tell my clients all the time. So all my PNP girls that are joining on here, one of the things I want you guys to stop doing is being right now comparing yourself to everything that's ever gone wrong in your past diets, and that has something to do with what you're doing today. I know that is one of the hardest concepts that I teach to girls, and that is, I don't care how many diets you failed, and I don't care how many times you have blown it, or how many times you started exercising and stopped exercising, all that kind of stuff. It is so irrelevant to what's going on right now. The only thing that matters is, are you going to move today? And why are you going to move today? Are you going to move today because you want to feel better? Are you going to move today because you're working towards your best self? That mindset has to change, y'all. It cannot be like, I'm afraid if I do this, I will go back to who I was. You have got to quit thinking that stuff. And that's the other piece that I really want to talk to you guys about, is that very often I am trying to tell you, you can't think about that stuff. And you're like, yeah, but it's coming at me. It's like, I know that. But there's a difference between thinking it and then latching on to the thought. So if you're like me, I've lost 100 pounds. I still, to this day, 12 years, guys, 12 years. So I can tell you from experience, if today I still totally feel like have those thoughts come in that, you better not take a day off, or, just whatever. I'll wake up sometimes and I will just beat myself up over my body, those kind of things. The big difference is those thoughts are going to come. It's what you do with them that matters. And that's the key. There's a big difference between having a thought and being so good at knowing that it's just the way your brain kind of populates itself, and the person who has the thought and then dwells on it and thinks on it and gets caught up in it, and the next thing you know, they're not doing anything. And that's the other big piece, is that a lot of you guys ask me, how do I get motivated to start exercising? How do I do these things? And it's motivation comes through actual doing. Motivation does not just shit all over you one day. It will not happen. Do not be the girl that's sitting back and waiting for someone like me to say some magic words that all of a sudden you're like, now I'm inspired and now I'm going to go out and conquer the world. The way you conquer the world, the way you conquer your weight, and the way you do stuff is you quit sitting and wondering why it's not happening for you, and you quit sitting around wishing something would change. You quit wanting everybody in the world to get out of your way so you can actually do something. You just get started with some stuff. It does not have to be the perfect things. It does not have to be the absolute right thing in the moment. But you got to do something. And you just have to ask yourself, what am I going to do today? And that's how you get your motivation and stuff. So when it comes to, like, the title of this one is, do you work out when you're sick? And I have some general guidelines for myself. So yesterday I woke up. Today I'm on the snotty side of things. So yesterday I woke up and I just felt like hell. Like, I feel like somebody beat me down. Now, I will say I went out drinking on Friday night. So this is just the God's honest truth so that you guys don't think I'm blowing smoke up your ass. But Friday night is always our date night. And my husband and I, we always plan when we're drinking through the week and all that stuff. And so we had planned. And all week long I've been battling some sinus stuff. And so we went ahead and went out Friday night. And I had my 4 glasses of wine. And so I woke up the next morning, and 4 glasses of wine is a guaranteed ticket to make sure that all this comes up like a banshee. So I woke up yesterday, you know, of course with a wine headache, and then I also woke up with all this crud. So I did not work out yesterday. I went for a small walk just to kind of get shit going in my body, but that was it. I mean, it was 30 minutes max. And then I spent the rest of the day sleeping and relaxing and really just giving myself some recoup time. Today, I do plan to work out. I'm going to do what I call a workout that makes sense. So I'm going to blow my nose a lot. What you're hearing basically is a whole night's worth of stuff that just ran down my throat. But I feel energized today. I don't feel like I am, like yesterday there was a definite feeling of like, ugh, like I just felt terrible. Today I feel like I want to get some stuff done. I feel inconvenienced in my head is more like anything else. So when it comes to exercise and working out, I tell people when you're sick, I probably wouldn't lift weights. Normally what I have people do is just do some cardio. The reason is it's not as hard on your body. Cardio is so much easier on your body than weights are. Weights require a lot of energy demand. They require, you know, and you need your energy to do it if you're going to do it right, you know, if you're going to lift heavy and stuff. You also want to make sure that your body can recover, and weights need a lot of recovery, like 24 to 48 hours worth of like calorie burning and repair burning and all kinds of stuff of your body. You throw some weights on top of being sick, your body takes away the reserves and the energy that it uses for the weights to get you better. Cardio, anybody can do it. Thank you. My husband's bringing me my coffee. I hadn't even had my coffee yet, y'all. But with cardio, your body doesn't need a lot of time to prepare. Like when you get, like let's say you're on the treadmill, when you step off the treadmill, you're done, ladies. Your body's like, okay, good, we're done. We don't have to do anything else. That's why I advocate lifting weights so much for women. Oh my God, I just love the first sip of coffee. So I will do a run today. I will not do a hardcore run. I will do enough run to get my nose going, and I will keep Kleenex next to me. And I will do that in my garage. And I will just go as long as I feel good. And then when I feel tired or whatever, I'll be done. And then afterward, I'm probably going to do a lot of stretching and just some stuff like that. So I'll do a little bit of abs. I'll do a lot of stretching. But it will be one of those things where you really listen in. Now, when I'm sick, like if I have fevers and or like, you know, hardcore coughs or stuff like that, then I usually take more time off. But this is really just a bunch of sinus shit and junk like that. So it just a good sweat will get some toxins out, get my nose blowing, a good stretch will lengthen my muscles, and then I should be good to hit it hard by tomorrow. So that's my kind of golden rule on the working out stuff is, you know, listen to, it's like everything I teach my clients. Always just listen to your body. And when you take time off because you're sick, the last thing you need to think about is this is a setback. I'm getting behind. I'm not going to lose weight or whatever. You got to clean that shit up, y'all. Like that, I just want you to listen to those words. I want you to think about, if you have that loop playing in your brain, give me one reason why that's effective. Like, you tell me one positive benefit of that, and then I'll let you think it all day long. But the majority of the people that I know, when they think crap like that, it just leads to ill feelings, disaster. You know, you feel like you're behind. Let me tell you, you start thinking I'm behind, I feel like I'm behind, you will get behind. Very often you're not even behind, but you create this dramatic story that you are, and then next thing you know, 2 or 3 weeks have gone by of you living in a dramatic story doing jack shit. Like, if you have the time to think you're behind, you damn sure got the time to start doing something. Like, that's what I tell my clients all the time. Now, I'm like a no bullshit kind of person. I'm like, you got time to be sitting around worrying? You got time to do something. You know, worry means you're doing nothing. Worry means you're thinking about the future while you're sitting around doing nothing. Like, if you don't do anything, just learn how to be like, no, when you're wasting your time, and say like, this is not helpful. I'm just going to do something until I freaking feel better about it. You always can do stuff and it will pay off dividends. And I take a firm hand with myself. It always starts with that first thought. My first thought always is, action is better than inaction. Even if you do the wrong thing, if you pick the wrong one, at least you're doing something. Practicing worry, whining, blaming, all that kind of stuff does nothing for you. Absolutely nothing. You know, I get up on my clients all the time. We were talking this week. I tell them, like, just take ownership of you. Quit waiting for someone to come around and change so you can change. That is never going to happen. Let's just say it did. Why would you want to wait that long anyway? If you can't get your shit together and you're waiting on somebody else to get their shit together, like, think about how much sense that makes. You're going to wait for someone else to figure themselves out and get their shit together so you can do the same. It's like, look in the mirror. Why not be the example? Seriously. I mean, I think that's just the bottom line. It's like my husband that just came out here. I keep having to move y'all around, so I keep getting stuck in the sun. You know, I have been doing this for 12 years. He essentially started working out a month ago. Not because I nagged. Now, just imagine if I had waited 12 more years to get my shit together so that he would want to go work out in our garage about 4 days a week. I mean, and that's what we want. We want people to somehow do something for us when we have to do the work. You know, like when you hire me and stuff, you know, I can help you see all this stuff. I can tell you how to think different. I can teach you how to eat. I can teach you so much. But ultimately, it comes down to you saying, okay, I have this, and now it's time for me to go and do something about it. We teach a concept in my group called passive action versus massive action. Passive action is sitting around and listening and reading and getting some bucks. And you may even do some worksheets, stuff like that. Massive action is when you say, like, okay, I'm done waiting around. I'm ready to do something. Today, I don't care how much I tell myself I want to overeat. I won't do that. Just not. For one day, I'm not overeating, no matter what it takes. For one Saturday night, I'm not going to go out and get junk food just because everybody else is. And it's going to be hard and it's going to be uncomfortable. That's the kind of discomfort and that's the kind of hard you guys absolutely want to have. You totally, sorry, we're moving if you can't tell because I'm now straight in the sun. It is the kind of hard and discomfort that you want to experience. You need that kind. You need to be able to be like, you know what, I'm going to do hard things one at a time. I'm not going to think about every Saturday night from now on what it has to be like. I'm going to think about this Saturday night, this Sunday afternoon, this food prep, this Monday morning. This is the one I'm going to think about. Not all of them. All right, let me go through and see what everybody's talking about here. I wish I had some Kleenex now and y'all could hear me blow my nose. Good morning, everybody. What is the brand of headband you're wearing? I love it, and it looks no slip. I am not sure. One of my girls gave it to me. It says PNP Queen because they call me Queenie. Somebody sent it to me in the mail. This is actually from Autumn. She had it, I don't know. If she was on here, I'd ask her, but she sent it to me a couple years ago. Let's see. Thank you for reminding us that our thoughts are just that, a thought. Don't dwell on it. Yeah, you never, Allison, you know, and that's the thing, is that people get really caught up in thinking something's wrong with them because they think things, and that nothing's wrong with you. All it means is that your brain is actually working, and what it's doing is sending you what you normally think about. And if you think about shit all the time, it will just keep sending you shitty stuff. At some point, you have to say, like, oh, that's that crap that girl told me on the internet not to think about, so let me just plug in a new one. And you don't even have to believe it at first, guys. I think there's a big misconception that you have to actually believe your new thoughts first. Sometimes you just have to cut the bleeding off saying, okay, we're not going to think this one right now, but I'm going to say this one out loud, and that's what I'm going to do. Whether or not I believe it, at least I'm not going to keep repeating the same sad-ass story that I keep living. At least do that much. In fact, I think I don't know if it's this week's podcast, but there's a podcast. I've got a podcast coming up where I talk about that exact concept, guys. It may be next week's podcast. My podcast drops every Friday, in case you're wondering. And then it's, and you can go to iTunes and search Losing 100, and you'll find Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. But next week's podcast is all about the food prep. We give every food prep tip Kathy and I have, and we give them all in that podcast. So it'll be a good one. But right after that, there's one where we talk a lot about, like, not latching on to thoughts and action and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, guys. And if any of you want to go to if you're new to me and you don't know who I am, you can go to P as in Paul, N as in no, P as in Paul, 411.com. The blogs, the podcasts, and my free course is all over there. I have a free course on how to quit quitting diets, and it's a really good one. It's almost like you give yourself a reason to fall behind. You do give yourself reasons to fall behind. If you think you're behind, you will find, guys, like, seriously, this is straight dope for real. What you think about is what you will see in the world. If you think the world is against you, you will find every single person who looks at you wrong. The cashier line will take too long. Traffic will be bad that day. There will be all kinds of stuff that'll just be happening, and you'll just be like, see, I'm telling you, world's out to get me. Like, I am not meant to be successful. And here's all my reasons why. Versus the person who is like, I got the world. Like, I create my time. I am a champ. When you're at the cashier line, you're like me. You're like, oh, this is a good opportunity for me to text my mom. When you're sitting in traffic and stuff, you're not thinking about how terrible traffic is. You're thinking about what's the next uplifting podcast am I going to listen to? I was telling one of our clients the other day, we have a girl who was talking about she has like a hard time finding time to listen to things and everything. I said, you're sitting in your car right now listening to me. We were doing a live Zoom. She's like, yeah. And I said, if you're in your car, you call that the University of Debbie from now on. Like, your car is like going to school, guys. Put in podcast. Like, if you are sitting there and listening to music or the news, you are wasting your time. Get in that car and have your shit queued up to where you can listen to uplifting podcasts. I am telling you, I can't even believe how many people don't listen to podcasts. I'm like, it is the best free education that is out there. I listen to them all the time, and I have several favorites. One of my favorites is the 5 a.m. Miracle. I love him, and I love Brendan Burchard. Great podcast. Lewis Howes has a great podcast. If you like weight loss stuff, Half Size Me is a great podcast. In fact, I just got an invite to be interviewed by the Half Size Me podcast this morning. I was like, yes. The Life Coach School. Cookie Rosenblum's Real Weight Loss for Real Women. I've been featured on her podcast, her food prep one. She's got a great podcast, guys, for weight loss. I mean, it's terrific. There's just all kinds out there. All kinds of good podcasts. Let's see. Only about me. Take care of me. Enough is enough. Get started today, even if it is a small baby step. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself, guys. It is not somebody else's responsibility to take care of you. That stopped after you were about 18 years old. When you were born, somebody else had the responsibility to take care of you. You're grown ass now. Now it's your time. And taking care of yourself, y'all, has a lot to do with how you talk to yourself. It does not mean you're going to be a bitch and now tell everybody no. It means you're going to be very clear in what your priorities are so that you can be giving the best of you when you are with your people. I talk to my girls all the time. My PMP tribe members, they know that I set very clear priorities in my life. I do not take a ton of shit on. Like, I have business, I have my boys, and I have my health. Boom, boom, boom. Outside of that, it gets worked in when those things are exquisitely taken care of. I don't mean half-ass taken care of. I mean exquisitely taken care of. And when you are on fire with knowing what your priorities are, you will kindly push the other stuff out. Because when you know that you want to give 110% of yourself to something, you don't want to give a half-ass effort anymore. You're so done with it. You don't want to be the half-ass friend. You don't want to be the friend that sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't. Or you don't want to be the person who presents the good face and is going and doing for other people, and all the while lying straight up dope to them. Because in your mind, you're sitting there thinking, I didn't have time for this. I should be doing something else. Feeling guilty, all that kind of stuff. The people who love you in this world want you to be happy. They don't want you doing things for them, trying to make them happy, because they're probably still not happy themselves. You can't make anybody else happy. What you can do is you can show up to the other people in your life 110%, and when you do that, you impact their life. I promise you it works that way. Let's see. A lot of happy Mother's Day. Y'all, it's such a good day, right? So I took Logan for facials yesterday, and we spent time together. Good, straight dope quality time. We went and we ate some Japanese food after because he loves Japan. And just, it was that time when we really bonded. I've been really working on, I tell you guys this all the time, that whatever you're going to do and prioritize, do it like you mean it. If you're going to prioritize your health, do it like you mean it. Like, don't just say you're going to do it. What I tell my clients, like when I think Stephanie is actually on here. I think I saw her jump in. When she wanted to start exercising, I gave her a big speech on Friday during our tribe. My members have a tribe site, so like you can like work with me through that. You can go to, if you just want to know about it, go to P as in Paul, N as in No, P as in Paul, tribe.com. There's a wait list. I actually opened June 1st through the 5th, and then we'll be closed again until fall. But she was asking about getting back into exercise and stuff, and I just was like, you got to get in there, and you got to do it like you mean it. But don't promise you're going to do more than you actually mean. I don't care if you're going to get in there and do it twice a week. You get committed, and you practice commitment, and you practice excitement, and you practice the thoughts of, I'm really doing this twice a week. Rather than practicing, I should be doing that. I hope so-and-so's happy that I'm doing this. And then practicing quitting sometimes because you took on too much in the beginning. That's a bunch of bullshit, and you'll never start working out if you do that. I will tell you that if you will get really good at just doing what you say you will do and cut out all the other drama, your life will change like you will not believe. Let's see. Danielle, how do you handle those days when you are so tired from poor sleep and you feel compelled to eat carbs all day just to keep your energy up? Well, here's the first thing is I prioritize sleep. I'm just going to tell you that much. Prioritizing sleep means that I turn my phone off. Like, I'm not going to be on my phone right up until bedtime. And I run an online business. It's very easy for me to get sucked into thinking I need to be on all the time. And I have a firm deadline now when I don't do that anymore. One of the other things I do is I take Natural Calm at night along with Emergen-Z every other night. So that helps me sleep. If I've had poor sleep, then I don't train the next day usually. But I mean, I have to have had poor sleep. If I do train, it's like a walk. I really take my exercise down a notch. And then when it just comes to the carbs, you can crave them all day long. This is just where you have to just tell yourself, look, it's a craving. It's a craving because I didn't get enough sleep. The answer to this problem is not to eat carbs. The answer to this problem is to get my sleep, to drink my water, to make sure that everything I put in my body today nourishes me. That's your answer. And this is kind of just the price you pay. I mean, this is where we talk about allowing yourself some discomfort. When I have cravings for things, this is where I tell myself, this is how I practice saying no to things I absolutely don't need. If my body doesn't need it, this is my opportunity to practice saying no. Now, a lot of you are like, well, I wish there was a much better answer than that, but there's not. It is just, if you're craving carbs, and here's the thing, Danielle, is I would make sure that you're getting plenty of carbs in your diet. I am not a low carb person at all. I eat rice, and I eat sweet potatoes, and I eat beans and things like that. I eat a lot of fruit. I make sure that I have plenty of carbs in my diet. I just don't sit around and eat junk. If you're tired and all of a sudden a ding dong sounds good, that's not because you're tired. It's because you want to take the easy way out. You're probably running from something else. It's probably not just you're probably tired with a little bit of shitty thoughts on top of it. Like the reason why you're tired, the reason why you're not sleeping good is probably because you have worry or something along those lines. And when you have all that going on, you got to clean all that up. The carbs are not the problem. And that's what most people totally negate. And that's what we work on in my tribe. Like my girls, when they're throwing up food logs and TDLs, and TDLs are thought downloads where I have them journal what's going on for them. They always want somebody else or the food or something to be the problem. Like I had a girl ask me the other day, her weight's not been, she's like, I haven't lost weight in 2 weeks. Should I skip my treat meal for the weekend? And I said, well, before we start skipping our treat meal, because I don't think so. I don't think you should ever skip your treat meal unless there's got to be a big reason, right? And it has to be one from compassion, not from punishment. And this one was coming straight from punishment. And I said, are you overeating or anything during the week? Well, now I am working on my fog and my storm eating, which is what we call overeating. Fog eating is where you're taking little bites of stuff behind your own back. A little bit off the kids' plate and just a handful of chips and a little won't hurt and stuff like that. We call it grab ass and food. And then storm eating is almost like binge eating or total overeating, where you're fuck this, I'm eating it, I should have this, I deserve it, or it's just too good, I'm not going to stop, that kind of stuff. And she said she was working on that. And I said, okay, so here's our problem. Our problem is we're fog and storm eating. Our problem isn't that we don't need to have treat food. Our problem is we want to work on why are we doing this, and let's start breaking the habit. And the why will come out with, I'm worried about some things, somebody pissed me off, junk like that. And we work through all of that shit. You clean that up, weight starts with losing again. It's no, so many diet gurus out there want to make this shit so hard. They want to give you these meal plans, and they want to cut out macros and make you count calories. They want to turn it all into math. Losing weight is anything but math. It has jack shit to do with math. Losing weight has to do with this right here. Every overweight woman I've ever met, including myself, the reason why they were overweight was not because they had a fucking math problem. Not one. They always have some stuff going on up here. And when I fix that with somebody, when I teach them how to get this going in the right direction and how to get out of their shitty past and quit blaming other people and thinking that there's some magic diet out there that's going to math them right out of their weight problem, we fix it. And that's weight loss, guys. Do not let anybody tell you that your ass is a math problem. It is not. Let's see. Just had my coffee explode all over the kitchen. I guess that's terrible, Cheryl. I hate to laugh, but God, I've had that happen twice. I've had a bullet cup that's had a seam cut in it, and then all of a sudden I blend, and then I'm like, oh shit! it sucks when it's also hot coffee doing that. And Deb, yes, The Time Warrior, guys. If you guys are looking for a great book to read that has to do a lot with taking action, actually getting started to lose your weight, all that kind of stuff. It's a book that has nothing to do with weight loss, but if you read it and you think about your weight loss, it will change your life. I have been all up and down that book with my girls, left and right, the last few weeks. Especially the last 15 chapters are excellent. It talks all about getting into action. Autumn, somebody needs to say, somebody said how much they loved this headband earlier and wanted to know where you got it from. And I was like, Autumn gave it to me, but I don't know where she got it. That's so funny. What is a podcast, Kathy? A podcast is, if you go, where do you find these podcasts? All right, Kathy, go to PNP, P as in Paul, N as in no, P as in Paul, 411.com. At the top will say podcast. Click on that. What I do is every podcast I do show notes, and then there's a place where you can actually click to get to the podcast. It's a recording. It's me doing this, but just in your earbud. So like you can play them in your car. If you have an iPhone, you have a podcast app where you can subscribe to all kinds of podcasts and stuff. If somebody's on here, one of my girls, if y'all want to educate Kathy on podcasts, I just think they're marvelous. My friend Autumn, who got me the headband, she's got a lawyer podcast. So if you're a creative entrepreneur and you want to know how to shore up your legal business, please, Autumn, will you please put in your podcast name? But they're great. They're so educational. They just help. Like you get to pick all kinds of topics on what you're interested in, and you get to just flood your brain. Like if you want to, guys, if you want to level up your thinking and you want to start believing in more than you do now, and you want to talk differently to yourself, start listening to the shit that tells you that. Seriously, you can't put enough good stuff in your brain. Just let it be the let it be the background of your life, guys. I'm telling you. Nice guns. How long those take? Well, I've been working out for, I don't know. Let's see. Well, I've lost my weight 12 years ago. I mean, I've been working out the whole 12 years, but I probably got more serious about weightlifting about year 10. That's about when I really started, well, like 11 or 10. And that's when I really started working out more. And now I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to do a Tough Mudder in June. So if you do listen to podcasts, my co-host Kathy, her husband and I are doing a Tough Mudder together. That'll be my 8th. And then this fall, with one of my clients, I am doing a powerlifting competition. So I'm really excited about that. Let's see. Today is truly Mother's Day. I love how you sincerely encourage us and then get on us to get our shit together, all in the same breath. This is what I love about this tribe. You don't pacify us. Thank you for being so real. There's no way we can fail with you. Oh, thank you, Pamela. I appreciate that. Let's see, Joan. I listen to one of your videos every morning when I get to work while I'm working. This way I get you and your great talks in the head. It helps, and I have been watching you since February. I am down 12 pounds. Let's see. Oh, that's awesome, Joan. I keep thinking it is for me, no one else. I am having a hard time stopping drinking Dr. Peppers. I have one a day. Is this okay? It is my go-to when I can't handle anything or think I just have to have it. Well, all right, so I will say this, like, I'm not a big proponent of the Dr. Pepper, but the problem isn't the Dr. Pepper. The reason why you're not stopping the Dr. Pepper is because you have this thought, I can't handle things. Honey, you can handle things. I was just teaching my tribe this week all about, in fact, the month of June, we're doing a whole month focused on, like, changing how we think, believing those thoughts, and releasing blame, and, like, basically taking control of your life, that you always choose things. You are always in control. I don't care what kind of shitstorm is going on around you. You always have control. It is a myth that you don't. And I'm really good at showing people, like, well, yeah, you still have control, and here's exactly how. And they're like, say what? No, I didn't think about it like that. Like, yeah, because you always have, because you're so convinced you can't handle it. You're so convinced you don't have control. You miss the facts that are right in front of your face. So one of the things that I would work on with you, Joan, is just the idea that you can't handle anything, and so that you just have to have it. You're using your Dr. Pepper as a crutch to not take some responsibility or not to own something that you absolutely can deal with. It may be stress, worry, boredom, or whatever, but that Dr. Pepper's not fixing that. And that's what I would want you to see, is that we need to work on this, Joan. We need to work on whatever it is that you believe you can't handle, that you're choosing to think you can't handle, because you fix that, then you suddenly realize that Dr. Pepper's not handling it for you. He's not magic. He may be called Dr. Pepper, at least he has a decent name, but he's not fixing this. Wouldn't you rather fix that so that you don't need a Dr. Pepper that might one day be a piece of cake or a candy bar? It will just escalate. If you always think something external is going to help you handle the shit of your life, you've got a bad deal going right there. You want to make sure that you start learning how to handle the things in your life, because the external stuff doesn't do it for you. Let's see. I love your honesty and straightforwardness. Thank you, Strong Body. Why you have both Fitbit and Apple Watch? Interesting story there. So, I like my Apple Watch because I get messages and stuff on it, and it does like the heart rate and all that kind of stuff. But I basically have that just to tell time and all that kind of junk. I have the Fitbit because a lot of my clients have a Fitbit, and the only way to do challenges into like we have like weekly challenges, weekend warrior challenges, and all that kind of stuff is if I have my steps tracked here. So now I have both. But for a while I didn't have the Fit. I was a Fitbit girl for a long time, and then it broke, and I got pissed at Fitbit. And then I got this. I can't keep up with them on this, so then went back to the Fitbit. So that's why. What's the name of the book you just referenced? Time Warrior. What's the name? Yeah, it's Time Warrior, guys. And it's by Stephen Chandler, I believe is his name. I'm also reading his other book, The 17 Lies We Tell Ourselves. It's good too. Now, it's different than Time Warrior, but it's still really good. In fact, for my tribe, guys, as I'm going through that book, I am taking notes, and I will be including a little bit of those lessons in our June training that has to do with like taking ownership of how we choose our thoughts, why we choose them, and all the things that we were talking about the other day when it comes to, do you have to take shit off people? Like, no, you don't have to take shit off people, but you need to make sure that they're actually like crossing a real line. So many of us have these like ideas in our head about how other people just should behave, and we're gonna nip that one in the bud next month. Hey Paula, I'm glad you're listening to the podcast. I'm probably gonna have to go in a minute, y'all, because I'm getting so snotty that I'm gonna have to go start blowing. My husband works on call, and several nights a week I eat dinner by myself. I have noticed when I'm alone, I tend to eat more or overeat. It's like I eat what I want because I am the only one there and nobody will know. Is this what you call eating behind your back? Yeah, that's kind of like eating behind your back. I mean, eating behind your back is when you say you're going to do one thing and you just do another. Like if you go into every meal saying, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, and you kind of just half-ass eat, and then you start watching TV and Facebooking and stuff like that, next thing you know, you've overate. That's kind of like eating behind your own back. One of the things I would do, Andrea, is since you're eating home and alone and you notice you overeat more often than you do when he's there, is one, there's two things you can do. There's the practical, like the action part of it, where you can agree before you eat how much you're just going to eat, and you just say, this is it, this is the constraint I'm putting down because I don't want to overeat anymore. I don't need to overeat. And then the other piece of it is dealing with the fact that he isn't there, and you know, how are you going to fill your time? Why does it feel so, like, what is it about being alone that is terrible for you? You know, and then we would work on that. We would work on getting to a place to where you can be home and be okay with being by yourself. Like a lot of times, for a lot of us who are overweight, one of the worst things that happens is alone time. Because when we are alone, we hear all the crazy that we repeat all day long. We hear all the shameful thoughts that we have about ourselves and stuff. And the volume gets turned up. And when we're eating, that volume goes back down. When other people are around, that volume goes back down. If we're shopping, that volume, you know, any kind of like thing that you do that distracts you from it. So what we want to do, somebody's like pissed. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we work on what is going on in your brain and get very comfortable with being with yourself and changing that conversation that you're having. That's what we want to really change, because once you change that, then you're usually not so compelled to want to overeat and stuff. You don't have something you want to shut down. Sarah, let's see. I have to admit that this is the first time I've listened to you, even though I have joined your Facebook page. You are so down to earth. The true facts say how it is. Thank you. We'll start listening more and getting my shit together. By the way, happy Mother's Day. Sarah, yes, go ahead and start listening to everything. Aw, my daddy just sent me a Mother's Day wish. Let's see. Okay, guys, that's it. I am going to go. I'm going to call this one just because I'm like so crappy sounding. So if you want to follow my podcast, you just look in iTunes, go to Losing 100. The name of the podcast is Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. We release every Friday, and this Friday's podcast will be all about food prep. That will be episode 6, I believe. And then if you want my free course on how to quit and diets, go to P as in Paul, N as in no, P as in Paul, 411.com. You'll find the podcast show notes. You'll find my blog. I always put these videos and archive them there with extra special notes and stuff. And you can get the free course. It's all right there. It's very clear. The free course is a big yellow button up at the top right. And then if you want to get on the wait list, guys, seriously, you need to, if you're going to want to work with me through the summer, a lot of you will say, like, I don't want to do it through the summer because I'm going to be traveling and stuff. That is exactly when you need to do it. You need to be able to have your summer without gaining 10 pounds or 5 pounds or feeling like your schedule's erratic and stuff. I can teach you how to have a wonderful summer without blowing your wad. And I'm not joking. So go to P as in Paul, N as in no, P as in Paul, tribe.com. You can get on the wait list. I have a video of what you get when you join. I have all the information there. And you can message me if you have questions about anything. But I would love to have you. But when we open in June, we will close in 5 days. I will not be reopening until this fall. We will work with these girls as well as we worked with our last group. I am die hard on making sure that the girls that join have access, exclusivity, get all their questions answered, and all the help they need. So I will talk to you guys later. You have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.